Hi, Mike. Officials with APD issued a statement that the shooting on Saturday has generated a lot of questions that deserve answers. And the answers, according to the attorney for Daniel Perry, is that his client was trapped, he was facing a man with a rifle, and he had to make a split-second decision. This picture of Daniel Scott Perry, released by his attorney, shows him dressed in the formal uniform of the Army's 1st Cavalry. A spokesperson at Fort Hood tells me Perry is a sergeant and he remains on active duty. Before the shots heard in this video were fired Saturday night, Perry, according to his Dallas attorney Clint Broden, was working a part-time rideshare job. According to a statement from Broden, Perry had dropped his client off in the vicinity of Congress Avenue. He was then going to proceed to a hotspot in order to wait on notification to pick up another client or to pick up food for delivery. Sergeant Perry made a right onto Congress Avenue from 4th Street and encountered a throng of people in the street. A memorial remains at the intersection of 4th and Congress where the confrontation took place. Broden stated Perry did not know a demonstration was taking place there at the time. After he stopped, protesters allegedly started beating on Perry's car. Broden states a man carrying an assault rifle, identified as Garrett Foster, an Air Force veteran, approached the car and motioned with his rifle for Perry to lower his window. According to Broden, Sergeant Perry initially believed the person was associated with law enforcement and complied with the command. After rolling down the window, it became apparent to Sergeant Perry that the individual with the assault rifle was not law enforcement. Austin Police Chief Brian Manley, during a briefing Sunday, described what witnesses told detectives about that face-off.
During the initial investigation of this incident, it appears that Mr. Foster may have pointed his weapon at the driver of this vehicle prior to being shot.
Broden offered this explanation as to why Perry had a gun. Sergeant Perry, who carried a handgun in his car for his own protection while driving strangers in the rideshare program, fired on the person to protect his own life. It's unclear which rideshare company Perry is with, but Uber and Lyft both have policies against drivers having firearms while working. Broden closed his statement by saying Perry and his family deeply sympathize with the loss and grief being experienced by Foster's family, but he also made it clear that the simple fact is that Sergeant Perry reasonably perceived a threat to his life when, as has now been confirmed by independent witnesses, Mr. Foster raised his assault rifle toward Sergeant Perry, who was sitting in his car. Since his name was made public, there have been reports of several social media posts attributed to Perry where he condemns mob violence and urges individuals to protect themselves from that kind of violence. But since those reports were published, Perry's Facebook and Twitter accounts have been deleted. Live at APD headquarters, now back to you in the studio.